Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel if this is your first time here. My name is Megan and I am the witch here around the cauldron. And in today's video, I want to talk about imposter syndrome. Now this video isn't going to be anything that is super put together or scripted or anything. I have zero notes, but I just wanted to sit down and just have a chat because I've been feeling personally this imposter syndrome, and I know I'm definitely not the only one that feels like this. So imposter syndrome, if you're not familiar, is the easiest way I can describe it is you feel like an imposter. You feel like you don't know what the heck you're doing. You feel like you don't know anything, even if you do know things. And it gives you this sort of like impending sense of doom that everybody around you is going to figure out that you're a fraud and call you out, or I don't know. It's a really terrible feeling. And I wanted to talk about it because I've been feeling like this for a couple of days at least. I know I posted about it on Instagram. I did a whole tarot spread about it for myself personally. But it's really funny because I know I'm not the only person that's experiencing this right now, because I've talked to other people who are going through imposter syndrome and who are really feeling like they don't fit or they don't belong. Just recently, Ivy the Occultist posted on Instagram about feeling like an imposter, and I was like nodding my head along. Yeah, I totally get it. I understand 100%. And I don't know. It's just one of those things that tends to creep up on people. And I think as a creator, it's more difficult, or it can be more difficult, not to invalidate anybody else. As a creator, because that's the only way that I can speak about imposter syndrome in this case, is as a creator. Imposter syndrome can make it hard for me to do what I love doing, because I love sitting down and recording these videos. I love learning new things, and I love teaching things to other people that they might not have known anything about. And I like sitting down and just talking. But when imposter syndrome creeps up on me, it's like I get those thoughts in my head of, what the hell am I doing? Who am I to even sit here and talk to people on YouTube? Who am I to have 7,000 people following me here on YouTube, watching my videos, people on Instagram, whatever? Why do I get a voice? Why does my voice matter, you know? And I didn't know that I was going to sit down and record this video until after I did a tarot spread to help me like work through my imposter syndrome. Because what do you do when you're having an existential crisis? You reach for your divination method. You reach for your tarot cards. Or I do anyway. So I found a tarot spread online because I could not come up with one on my own for this. At least not with the headspace that I was in. So it was easier for me to find one online. Anyway, I did that, and it's funny because there's a question that basically was like, what can you do right now to help you not feel like an imposter? And the card that I pulled was the Ten of Cups. And it's basically, the feeling that I got from it was, you're not alone. You have all of these people at the table with you, and everybody experiences the same thing. Let yourself be vulnerable. Talk about it with your support system. Talk about it with other people so other people know they're not alone. And that's what I'm doing right now. So yeah, I'm working through how to get past imposter syndrome, because I know that I know things. I know that I'm good at what I do. I know that I research really well, and that the information that I put out is generally very good. And if it happens to not be, I also know that I'm fully capable of taking accountability and be like, nope, that was bad, and I'm sorry, let me fix that, you know? But I don't know why we get imposter syndrome. I don't know where it comes from. I know that I have a few things that trigger it that will make me feel worse. I think part of what happened was I was going through my subscriptions on YouTube, trying to catch up on all of my friends' videos and all of the other people that I watch. and it was just too much. And I was just watching all of these amazing creators with wonderful information that I started to compare myself. And it was just really shitty because I know you're not supposed to do that. You don't compare yourself to another person, especially online, because this is just one little blip in my life, 1 second out of hundreds of millions of seconds. And it's the same thing for other people. I'm not seeing the full story, but I personally get into the comparison trap, and I started to do that. I started to compare myself to these people that I was watching and to my friends, and internalizing negative comments that I have gotten before of like, I talk too slow, or I'm not well spoken. And these are all things that I'm self-conscious of, because I do tend to trip over my words a lot. I do tend to lose my train of thought a lot. And I drag out my words, and I don't know why I do it. It's just the way that I speak. But comparing myself to other people who don't have that problem and who do speak eloquently, or who have, who speak quickly but in a way that can still be understood or whatever, and who I think have so much more knowledge than I do, when that might not even be true at all. They just have more knowledge on one subject than I do. Yeah. So I don't know. I think the point of this little video is to let anybody know that if you're going through imposter syndrome, it's okay. You're not alone. You're not by yourself. This especially happens when so many of us are online or follow amazing people on social media, because we start to compare ourselves and our practices especially to the practices of other people. I mean, that's the one thing, it's one thing that I don't like about being on YouTube, is I never want someone to compare their practice to my practice, because my practice changes so much on a regular basis. I did a video last year or something about like my daily practice as a pagan, where I was praying every day and I was lighting candles every day and I was, doing all of these things. But then so much changed and so many things happened in my life that my practice doesn't look like that anymore. I mean, I don't want people to compare themselves to me. And I know part of that is like inherent and sometimes we can't help it, but I at least want people to be conscious of when it happens, so that you can pull yourself out of it and you can take away the triggers. And if that means not watching my videos for a week or whatever, or however long you need, then that's fine. Or, for anybody else, or unfollowing people on social media that are affecting your mental health in a negative way. It's really easy to fall into that trap of comparing ourselves and thinking that we're not good enough, when all we're inundated with is people who we perceive as better than us. And this is why I'm a huge fan of following accounts on Instagram or accounts here on YouTube that aren't just aesthetics, that aren't just pretty pictures and pretty videos, because while those are helpful and they're nice to watch and they put us in a good mood, too much of that, in my experience, can have a negative effect. I love watching videos of real life. I love watching videos that people are just like doing what I'm doing, sitting down and talking and pouring their heart out, or talking about something that they're really excited about or really passionate about. And it's real life, and it's not this curated picture perfect video. I don't know, it's a double-edged sword, because YouTube is a visual platform, and if things aren't pretty or nice to look at, or they're not nice to listen to, then people aren't going to watch and people aren't going to listen. And that's just the nature of being here online. I don't really the only tip that I have for dealing with imposter syndrome is to unplug and figure out what your triggers are, and go back and remember who you are and remember what you know. And you have to really remind yourself that online isn't real life, or what we see of somebody for 5 seconds isn't their whole life. We can know somebody for 20, 30, 50 years and never know the entirety of that person. So that's something that's super important. And another thing, it's the one thing that I want to leave you with, because I don't want this rambly video to be way too long. I don't remember where I heard this, but it's something that has stuck in my head for so long when it comes to imposter syndrome, and it's something that I remind myself of when I start to feel like this. And after doing my tarot reading and reminding myself of this thing, I'm starting to feel better, and knowing that I'm not alone, and knowing that everything is fine and I'm okay and I'm not an imposter and I'm not a fraud. And the thing that gets me through all of that is this: true imposters don't get imposter syndrome. And I will talk to you next time. Bye.